This episode of the Star Wars Battlefront podcast is brought to you by our patrons on Patreon. Head over to patreon.com/Battlefront podcast to help support this show. We're also brought to you by our PayPal supporters, paypal.me/tie-dye-sheep, TYEDYESHEEP.
Pick your class and
earn your battle points.
Because it's time for the Star Wars Battlefront podcast. Welcome to episode 142 of the Star Wars Battlefront podcast. I'm your host, Sage Goodwin, joined by my brother and co-host, Sam Goodwin.
Hello there.
We're also joined by our cousins, Bo and Brett Sims.
hi.
Hello.
In this episode, we'll be going over the roadmap for future DLC in the game.
Let's get started.
So I am the only one that has read the roadmap.
Have you been lying to us?
Lying to you?
Yeah,
How?
because you said it was disappointing, and I'm like, I don't know if he's like tricking me or if I'm just going to disappoint myself by thinking this.
Not. I think it's disappointing, but we'll get into that in a bit after we actually break down what's in it. So in July, we're getting a new mode for the Starfighter Assault, and it is called Hero Starfighters.
Haven't they already confirmed that?
Yes. New 4v4 PvP mode focused on hero ship battles.
I don't know. I kind of already knew about that one. I think Brett would be excited about that one, though.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
What do you think, Sam?
I was never a fan of the Starfighter Assault, and I already knew this was coming, so...
Did you not like the gameplay of it, though?
This is something more like me and
I
Sage
thought the
likes.
gameplay was pretty cool. I just thought I can see what you mean, though. There's like not enough objectives.
Also, game improvements will be a big focus on the update. Heroes can turn lightsabers on and off on player command. Lightsaber blocking will now affect stamina. Players can swap appearances pre-round, and hero showdown quality of life improvements will be introduced.
Do they just keep nerfing like the heroes as much as they can?
How?
Well, like they used to seem like way stronger. It seems like every update, like they weaken characters, and like the whole blocking thing. Did you say that uses up stamina? So that just kind of makes them even slower
It makes sense.
against like, I guess, a normal thing. But heroes versus villains, it's kind of fun.
But it is cool that you can turn your lightsaber on and off.
Yeah, it's like
Okay,
the
yeah,
first
that is
game.
more immersive.
Something to preface before we continue. There is a disclaimer on the bottom of this. Quote, more content and features will to be confirmed in future roadmap updates. Detailed information on all of the above will be made available in patch notes. So this will be an adapting roadmap. So as
Time goes on, and be added on to.
yes, as time goes on, let's just say for example, they are working on Porg Hunt. So Porg Hunt is something that they're working on, and they have it scheduled for, let's say it'll be October. They've got it scheduled for October, and then they put it on the roadmap. If that gets done faster, and they can release it in maybe August, they will go ahead and release
change
it.
it? Okay.
Yes.
What would
that's cool.
Porg Hunt be like?
I think that'd be creepy.
You play as Porgs. It's like Ewok Hunt.
What would they attack you with? They just like have wings, don't they? Or like penguin wings?
August is pretty bare. So August, we will be getting Clone Trooper appearances, which I think will be great.
Hasn't mods already been doing that?
Is
Like,
it-
but not everyone has access to those.
No, that's
it-
only on PC.
PC, that's what I'm saying, like mods and stuff.
Is it different, like color mask and all that?
Different squadrons
Oh, that's awesome.
of Clone Wars. So maybe it'll be the Clone Wars TV show
Yeah.
skins.
Wait, do you think there'll be like a Rex at some point?
I would imagine so.
Oh, dude,
That'd be awesome.
that'd be sick.
Another thing that they'll be focusing on is game improvements. Again, emotes and victory poses will be available to unlock with credits or crystals. So you can you can actually buy emotes now, like they did in Battlefront 2015.
Okay.
And here's where it gets disappointing. So in the fall, we'll be getting two heroes, Obi-Wan and Grievous.
And this is like the young
Next
Ewan McGregor
fall.
kind of Obi-Wan.
Yeah, this fall we'll be getting Obi-Wan and Grievous, just the two.
Is it like Ewan McGregor though? Do you think there's gonna be like a skin for the old Ben or something?
It'll be the Clone Wars
Clone Wars.
Obi-Wan.
So we're not getting any new heroes until the fall?
Yes. No new heroes. The thing that disappoints me, and we'll get into this in a second, we're only getting the two at that time.
Yeah, you figure you're
At
getting
EA
four.
Play, they said we will be getting four
Four
heroes.
heroes. Just count
But-
Dooku and Anakin.
Yes.
And, wait,
But they are being moved to winter.
Oh God,
So like no content through summer or
Well, we're getting those things for July and August, which will finish out the summer, which would be Hero Starfighter Assault, some game improvements, and then the Clone Wars Trooper experience appearances. But they don't have any new maps or game modes announced other than the Starfighter one for July or August.
Why does it take so long? Like when they released Battlefront 1, it seems like they had something else like every other like 2 or 3 months, not like 6 or 7 months.
yeah, and we were promised that we were gonna get like freaking heroes and new game modes like every 2 months, and now it's been like every 4 or 5 months.
Again, the big thing that has caused so much problems for the game is the progression system. The thing
Yeah,
that took
caused
up.
the lack of sales and stuff.
That is the biggest thing that stopped them from having more frequent content, because all they were doing in the 6 months after the game launched, were those fixing bugs. That was the only thing that they were doing. So it's just one of those things that they didn't foresee, the progression being a huge problem.
On the most part, they fixed it. I never really found it to be a problem, even whenever it was on there. Like I found it to still be pretty even. It's kind of still a skill-based kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see once we get closer to these release dates, because I think July is pretty set. That's what we're going to be getting for July, and it's a pretty fleshed out month. For August, I think that will be the time frame where they've still got plans for things, but they don't know if those will come to fruition in time for the August release.
Mm-hmm.
The thing with Battlefront 2 is they are bringing content, updates, and game modes and that kind of thing every month. Whether that be skins or just small things. And then we've got the seasons that bring the big things, or normally the big things. Han Solo season was kind of a filler season.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of lackluster.
Yeah, and the last one we had was in like December was the last
Yeah,
Jedi
the Last
one.
Jedi one.
Yes.
And now we got this one in June.
I thought they were going to add some, like, at least more skins than that, because didn't we only get, like, 2
And
skins?
I understand that they
We
had
got
four.
5 skins.
2 were, like, the ones most advertised. Those, the Han and the Lando.
I understand they had to revamp the progression system, but they could have had like teams assigned to a certain task to where they could start getting other stuff done. Because so far, we haven't had any new content since The Last Jedi. Because we already had Han and Lando already in the game. So the only new thing was added was the map. The game mode was a port. The maps that came with the season were a port.
Except for the mines of Kessel.
But the Jabba's Palace was a port, and the game mode that came with it was just like Heroes versus Villains cut in half.
Well, they're kind of...
Extraction?
No, I'm talking about the Hero Showdown.
Oh, Hero Showdown.
Because they had the 2 waves.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the first wave.
They're adding a lot more to offline than I thought they would. Like, they've added a bunch of the maps. I thought they would have just added those, like, 5 main maps that they had at the beginning, or 4.
They just
How
added
many
Craig,
they had?
didn't they?
But they added a lot
While
more
ago.
through the updates.
Continue on to the fall release. We are getting the new large-scale mode that has been teased. Hopefully, it'll be Conquest. I think that's a big possibility. That's what fans have been wanting since Battlefront 2015 is one of those, because they said it's a non-linear game mode, which in Battlefield terms, that means Conquest.
Yeah.
That means you can go here and capture
Oh,
point,
yeah, I've
or
been
you can
hearing
go
some
over
stuff
here
about
and
that.
capture a point, or you can go over there and capture a point. Instead of like the multi-phase game modes that we've been getting where you keep
A
this
section of map,
point.
yeah, and then you got to move on.
Yeah, and then you
and then
continue moving forward.
It's timed, and then you go on again.
More appearances will be coming, clone trooper appearances as well as hero appearances. And the game improvements for fall, again, that's a broad term for fall. Possibly it'll be spread out over the 3 months of fall or whatever they decide to do. They're going to be adding squad system. So the much needed squad system to help improve the game and playing with friends.
Did they have any other plans like past this, do you think? Are they going to release anything in 2019?
I would hope that they would bring things for 2019. That is my working theory is they will have content leading through 2019, maybe mid 2019. And then they announce Battlefront 3 for a release in 2020.
2020. Okay, yeah. In 2019, I figured it'd almost come out in 2019 though, because we get one like every time a new movie comes out.
We get a Battlefield and Battlefront are alternating. So one year we'll
That's
get
right,
Battlefield.
Battlefield 5 is coming out next year, isn't it? Okay.
It's coming out this year.
2018.
2018. It's coming out
Wow.
this fall around shooter time.
Oh, that's
November.
right. That's right. Because the big games, Red Dead and stuff like that, are coming out.
Yeah. So that's my theory. Is they are going to. That's what I want, and I think it makes sense. Is to bring content to the game, continuing through 2019, that gives them enough time to save the game, enough in the consumer's eyes and the player's eyes, bringing more awesome content throughout the year and supporting it. Because Rainbow Six Siege is one of those big games. It's going into its third year.
It started off low, like,
and it's actually
low.
gotten
It's gotten
more.
like way better though. Like, it's expanded. I've seen like 3 times more players from the beginning till now.
So that's what I'm hoping they do. They take like a Rainbow Six Siege approach to where they keep the content coming and keep the flow going and keep the communication up. So when a new game comes out, we as a community, we as players of the game, are saved from what we thought was happening before, and also looking at the things that have been changed and giving a fresh start for the next one, and taking like a year off to reevaluate themselves.
Yeah, because they can't really release one in 2019 because this year's like halfway through,
Yeah.
and the game's barely even started.
Yeah.
Well, wait, when did they advertise? 2017 was when they advertised Battlefront 2? And that
It was early 2017.
early 20. Okay, yeah.
It was
it
around
too late.
April of 2017.
If it was to come out in 2019, though, it would be like at the
we would
end
hear
of-
rumblings of it now,
Yeah.
and during the earnings call, the CEO of or the CFO, one of the two, of EA said that I don't remember the exact phrasing, but they did mention Battlefront, and I don't know if it was in a light that would bring us as fans to expect a game next year.
Mhm.
I think it would be best for them
to take a year off.
maybe take a year off. I don't know how that would mess with the Battlefield release, because I don't want them to do the Titanfall Battlefield 1 thing where they released those two games within a week of each other.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Battlefield 1 did really well,
And
while
Titanfall was
Titanfall 2 it's a great game,
Yeah.
but it was forgotten in the wave of Battlefield. So I hope maybe that Battlefield 1 will expand its reach a little bit, and to give Battlefront 3 the chance it needs.
Do you think they're gonna like advertise the fact that there's not gonna be any microtransactions like they did Battlefield 5 for Battlefield?
Oh yeah, they won't make the same mistake again.
Yeah, because
That was just a fiasco that they were not prepared for, that they did not expect, and I think that's just a big thing that they should learn from.
Do you believe they're gonna like use success from other games, like adding a battle royale for Battlefront 3?
Oh God,
Sounds like
What
that's
would
kind
that
of
be like?
controversial. Yeah, that's
That
by
depending on how popular battle royale
then, it's
games,
still then like it's
Yeah.
like.
I think a battle royale game in Battlefront would be
That
awesome,
would be awesome.
especially with the gameplay.
But I'm like, how would you like? I don't know. You had to be like a scavenger or
You
something.
drop in
because
like gunships or something like
I
that.
think that it would probably be just a dedicated game, like
Yeah.
its own game, Star Wars game.
yeah, because I can't see them putting that in a mode unless they're doing like how they do Battlefield 5.
Well,
They may kind of learn from that game.
maybe. A lot of fans
Loosely.
felt that Starfighter Assault should have been released as its own game, as a Starfighter or
Fighter Squadron.
Fighter
kinda like those
Squadron
old
games.
Those-
Yeah.
Wasn't it from like the developers of those games helped make it or something like that?
No, in game development, a lot of people, when one studio closes or when one person quits, they do have crossover. But Criterion made the whole space combat
okay,
for
that's right.
that. But I believe the original creators of Fighter Squadron games have actually said that they would be willing to come back and make another one.
If EA lets them though, that's kind of like a problem right now.
Yeah.
Like they just canceled their other single player Star Wars game like yesterday, I think.
So we'll see how that goes. Next, we have the winter section for the roadmap. Anakin Skywalker and Count Dooku will be coming out then. The location will be getting. Geonosis will be coming out in the winter. So it's getting delayed from when we expected it to be all in one. It's going to be spread out over into winter.
So they're probably going to release a different map for Obi-Wan and General Grievous.
I think they released like
Do you think there'll be a
that
hot
one
mode for
planet that he's on.
Geonosis?
I don't know. The weird thing is they're going to have a large scale mode, but the map that they said will be the biggest in Battlefront 2 isn't coming until possibly 3 months later.
Oh, okay. Because
Like
I
that
thought
is-
that was supposed to be the what was it? Conquest. Everyone was thinking.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how that shapes out, because they're going for winter. So at the absolute latest, depending on when the fall season starts, it could be 3 to 5 months until after we get these.
I guess if they do decide to release a map for Obi-Wan and General Grievous, it could be Utapau.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
That would be awesome.
I don't know how that would fit
Yeah,
a
with the
large scale,
conquest.
But
large
that
scale
would
game
be,
mode.
Yeah, that would be kind of difficult.
Maybe they launch the large scale game mode on the maps that we already have for Starfighter or for
Maybe they
Galactic
use
Assault.
Utapau for like extraction, all the smaller game
It'd be
modes.
amazing if they had an Order 66 game mode.
That'd be
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. Another thing that will be added are more appearances. They've said that they're focusing a lot on bringing cool appearances for the game. Clone Trooper again, and then hero appearances. So I could definitely see some different Anakin skins coming out at that time.
Yeah, the kind of torn
Yeah.
up one, that'd be awesome. I want a Darth Maul with robot legs.
Me too.
Yeah.
That's something I've been wanting for a while now.
Overall, what do you guys think? Sam, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so far it's kind of disappointing, like just them spreading the content. Because at EA Play, they were under the impression that they were all going to be released at the same time because they all have synergy with each other.
What I find disappointing is this is basically everything we know from EA Play, but spread out more, and it's
We already knew everything that was going to come out.
we already knew everything that was coming out
Now
through
we just
leaks
know
or
when.
something like that. I was hoping for more details or some new things.
Like new characters.
And you said that they were going to update it and everything, but these are the main points, so we're not going to see anything mind-blowing really.
Mm-hmm.
But we do still have hope in the limited time only game modes.
Definitely. Another thing to mention is this was supposed to come out Friday in Sweden, but it came out about Saturday in Sweden because
wow.
Ben Walk was left in a separate studio handling everything. He was in like the Ghost studio. So we'll see how. I don't like that. Like this was a huge thing that was announced a week or more before to be announced on Friday, and then they leave him or where he's in a studio by himself when he's supposed to be announcing this huge news. I don't like that. It feels like EA and the politics in there and the higher ups because this isn't the devs' fault. This isn't
DICE, they're the ones who are helping the game and still
Yeah.
caring about it. I'm not sure how EA still feels.
Don't go and start ranting to Ben Walk, the community manager, or any of the developers because this isn't their fault. This was something that they had to go through many layers of communication, and it screams to me like they aren't giving the respect the game I think needs. Ever since the big microtransaction thing and the progression system, EA seems to be like, oh, that's the ugly stepchild over there that we don't want to focus on. Oh, hey, look, there's Battlefield 5 over there. Go check
Yeah,
that
they're
out.
just trying to forget about it. I haven't heard much complaints about the game anymore. I've seen some videos popping up of why Battlefront's not as bad as most people think it is, and how it's being fixed slowly. But no, I think they're fixing the game. It's just taking time.
Overall, what are your two thoughts? Bo, I'll start with you. Of just in general the roadmap.
I'm disappointed. I'm also disappointed that we didn't get any new information, like you said, at all. I kind of thought they tell us that this thing is coming out the roadmap, but then they just tell us stuff we already knew and then told us when it's coming out. And it's coming out months from now.
The thing that gets me is I know I'm going to love this content. The content that they're bringing is really good, but this isn't what we were led to believe. Like when they delayed it, I was like, okay, there's something big in here. That's the reason I think they have to delay it. But no, even the new things that they add that we didn't really know, clone trooper appearances, hero appearances, we don't know what those are. They could be anything. They could be Unkar Plut or whatever. That's something that I think it gets me a little bit. But overall, the content that they're bringing is going to be great.
Do you think they're going to keep releasing Clone Wars after these 4 characters, or they're going to go with some other timeline like the Old Republic?
I don't know about Old Republic. It seems like they're focusing on
the main
prequel,
actual movies,
original, and sequel trilogy. So if they do another one, which I hope they do, it would be either from one of those 3 eras.
Do you think they would ever add that villain dude from Solo, the kind of forgettable guy, but had a kind of cool look to him?
Yeah.
What's his name? He played in Infinity War.
What's Vision?
Vision.
Yeah, I would like to see that, but I think we're past the point
Solo.
for Solo.
thing.
So yeah,
If we were going to get any heroes or anything like that,
It would
it
already
had
it
to
would
be
have
like a
already
big
happened.
season.
Hmm.
Yeah, but the next sequel trilogy is not going to be till 2019.
Yeah,
I can't see any new characters adding on to that because there's like they've already added all the ones they really need.
so it'll be interesting. What do you think, Brett?
I think like all the stuff they're adding is good, but the spacing between like all the updates is really disappointing. And pretty much, I'm just going on the Bo and Sam's points.
Mm-hmm.
I would like it if they added Clone War stuff like Ahsoka, because that seems to be a big
Yeah.
fan thing.
I would love-
That's
I never even
awesome.
thought about that.
After this, I would love to see like a Clone Wars TV show.
Yeah, because that's
season.
such a good show.
They
Like,
could add Ahsoka. They could add
Plo Koon.
Captain
they could
Rex.
add appearances
Plo Koon.
for like all the heroes for
Yeah.
like Obi-Wan and all that.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome.
that art style would be kind of cool
Yeah.
to see kind of mesh with.
I think a pretty cool villain would be Savage Opress.
Oh, that'd be
Yes,
awesome.
that'd be amazing.
It'd be cool if they like had dialogue between Darth
yeah,
Maul and him.
the brothers
Yeah.
connection there.
What's Dathomir? Is their planet?
Yeah. Or Asajj Ventress.
That
I
would
would
be
love to see
sick.
Oh,
Asajj.
I didn't even think about her.
So I would love to see a Clone Wars TV show season,
Star Wars Rebels maybe after that,
maybe.
because
Ezra,
there's
whatever her name is.
yeah, Ezra seems to be a pretty popular character.
Maybe they could tie it in possibly with the next animated show that they do. But I hope that they continue. I hope this isn't a thing that we're going to be getting and that's all. I hope that they bring it through 2019, or maybe they don't and they start. They've been working on Battlefront 3, and that's the reason why
It's taking
taking so long for this content. Because it is DICE that makes both Battlefield and Battlefront.
yeah, they can't do two
So
things at once.
a lot of the people that work on Battlefront, once the game shipped, will move over to Battlefield to work on Battlefield games.
So wait, is it the complete team? It's not like Naughty Dog, how like one half worked on Uncharted and the other half worked on Last of Us.
They separate it out. So they have the pre-launch team that they have set up that makes the main part of the game. Then they have the people that go through and support the game. They have the support team that brings all of the DLC stuff.
future stuff.
Because the way that DICE is with those two shooter games, they have to separate it, and some people move from game to game. Some people will work for Battlefield and then get transferred over to Battlefront. So I'm really looking forward to the content that's added. I think the roadmap was very disappointing in the content that it brought us, because it's basically just EA Play and game improvements and appearances. That's like all the things that we got in that.
But like Fortnite stayed us alive so long based off appearances, maybe these ones will be pretty cool.
Yeah. The thing that separates Fortnite and Battlefront for me is the way that skins are so tied to the community around Fortnite, while this game didn't really seem to cultivate that.
Yeah,
Really
fully
can't
embrace that
cultivate
until
that.
just kind of now.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be cool if they had a Commando skin also. You know those old games?
Yeah, the Republic
That'd
Commando
be
games.
so cool.
Before we end, we have one last thing. Friend of the podcast, Daniel Schilling, really cool guy, sent us an email regarding the roadmap. It says, "Hey fellas, I hope you're both well. We've had a little heat wave here in London at the moment, so in UK terms, it's pretty hot. Well, let's get to it. The roadmap. It was kind of the equivalent of waking up Christmas Day, being excited of that one present you so desperately want. You open it, and the box contains a turd. That's all I've got to say, really. Some good news. Managed to play a few rounds of Extraction. My hand's still pretty sore to play, but managed a 10-kill streak, so over the moon with that. At least the World Cup is on, so that keeps me busy. Take care, Daniel." What do you guys think of that assessment of the roadmap?
Pretty funny.
Pretty fair.
Yeah, kind of how I felt, but probably not a turd, more like clothes.
Or coal.
Well, I'm like happy with what I'm getting. I'm happy they didn't abandon the game, but it's kind of true. It is disappointing.
It's kind of like on that same thread, you wanted this shirt. Maybe it's a Battlefront shirt that's green. You really wanted the green Battlefront shirt, but you got the pink one instead, and it doesn't
God.
look the same. That's the analogy I would say, is like you got the thing that you're expecting, kind of. But I think that's about it for this episode. You can follow us on Twitter at SWB Podcast. Great place to keep up to date on the news. It's been a really hectic week. But we've been keeping all of the followers and the listeners that follow us over on Twitter up to date on the news that's happening. So if you want the news as it happens, you can go follow us on Twitter at SWP Podcast.
Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/the Star Wars Battlefront Podcast.
And you can support us on Patreon, patreon.com/Battlefront Podcast, or on PayPal, paypal.me/TieDyeSheep, TYEDYESHEEP. Another great way to support us is leaving a review on iTunes. That helps us out a ton. It allows other listeners to find the show, because when iTunes sees that more reviews are put on the show, it puts us higher in the search bar, as well as lets other listeners know once they see the show, they can go through the reviews and see what you think. It also helps us to hear your feedback on the show. And you can contact us through our email, battlefrontpodcast@gmail.com. As always,
Thanks for listening.
and may the Force be with you.